Oh, oh my god. Am I alive? I'm alive! Yeah! Woohoo! Man, it's been like, 3 months? But we're back, baby! We're back! Frankenstein style! Woo! Oh god. And, sorry for a Halloween video in like the beginning of February. But that Hoenn video was like kind of a beast, and I really needed like to give it all the time I could possibly spare. But, speaking of the third generation, in that beast of a video I discussed the impact Gen 3 had on the series in terms of fan content. You know, comics, video skits, fan game creations. I even went the extra mile to make like my own type of this content for the video. So, before we move on from that thought, why don't we discuss the most infamous ROM hack of all fan created content? Pokémon SNAKEWOOD. Released in 2010 by a person only known by the alias of Cultery, there's not much known about the creator of this monster of a game. But from what I can gather from their own comments on the original pokecommunity page, and this Reddit AMA from over a decade ago, take all of this with a grain of salt, Cultery was around the age of 14 to 15 when they released this hack of Pokemon Ruby, hoping to take the series in a more grim direction with a zombie apocalypse sequel to the original Ruby and Sapphire, taking place 2 years after Landon had completed his journey and defeated the Elite Four and Champion. This time, their little sibling, either Wraith or Jericho here, depending on your gender, which I kinda like how Wraith looks like Brendan, even having like the white hair in reference to the fact that everyone thought this weird beanie was his actual hair, and Jericho looks a lot like a female Norman. At least in her overworld sprite. I'm not sure what's up with this one, but whatever. But as the two wake up in the destroyed version of their hometown, they steal one of 3 interesting starter mons and head off to figure this stuff out. But then Birch comes in, getting attacked by a zombie Bulbasaur. Ah! Oh, it's gone. After defeating the cretin, Birch gives us the lowdown on what we missed, saying that Hoenn is having a zombie apocalypse with these creatures pouring out and devouring everyone that gets in their path. Landon and May have left to find a way to try to stop whatever's going on, but they haven't been heard from in months. And so, with no other option, couldn't an adult, handle all this? No other option! The half-dead child with memory loss is sent out into the apocalypse to find their brother and fix the world. I guess that's not much different from how things usually go. We even get our own rivals with these 2 unusual characters, though this time one is edgy and the other is, religious? The fuck? Well, Jericho now finds herself fighting off the demons of hell, zombies, and the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Yeah, I don't know what a ball toy is gonna do against all of that, but hey, we gotta try, you know? Okay, so let's just be straight here. We're really going for the edgy, dark fan game feel for this game. You know, the one that's like always just kind of looked down upon by a lot of people, especially in terms of like the Pokemon series, which, yeah, you know, it is supposed to be like a series predominantly made for children, so having characters say damn or having Pikachu's head on a spike just, you know, feels a bit much. But to be fair, it's not like Pokemon itself has strayed away from more deeper or disturbing topics in their own games. I mean, we just discussed like the secret death cult in the bowels of the Gen 3 remake. Objection! Look, you know, I was one of those people who would turn a blind eye towards a more darker Pokemon fan concept, but honestly, now that I'm older, I can really enjoy them for what they are, as another look into the potential of the Pokemon world that lies beneath the happy-go-lucky adventures we usually find ourselves in. Is Snakewood one of those types of games? Well, in parts. It's a very dark game, yes, but the tone can just kind of be, you know, all over the place when you play it. Like, there's a lot of jokes and references and just oddities appearing across the world, and I won't lie, I found some of it pretty funny. But at times, I found the tone to just be completely shattered, you know, after something really horrific or interesting happens. And then, well, that was random, sucker punch just comes from left field to take me out of it. there were parts in the game that I found really cool. Like the murder mystery in New Marvel where we need to find clues to figure things out Knives Out style, or the odd Telefang crossover on our way to Fortree. It was out of nowhere, sure, but kind of in a way I appreciated after dealing with the Horsemen and like the 5th plot twist. Right before Jericho's final encounter with the Horsemen, this girl known as Alicia shows up, and we fought her throughout the game, you know, and it's constantly hitting towards some like connection to her between her and Jericho, you know what I'm saying? And you know, mostly like through like these flashbacks Jericho experiences like throughout the game. And here, Alicia like just reveals like our entire past, and she goes into how we're both, you know, something called a death caller, and we serve this greater being in the underworld. You know, stay with me here. And since this job was so secretive, that's why our player's family just didn't know anything about it. And then Jericho lost her memory when the Horsemen rebelled against this dark ruler and tried to kill both Jericho and Alicia in the process, causing our memory loss. And you know, all that just sounds stupid and kind of ridiculous, but the game had actually been building to this sort of conclusion. Plenty of factors across the game seem to lead, you know, to the idea that Jericho played a more important role than just being like the sister to the champion. So many dark, evil forces recognized us and even like feared us. So many bad things seems to have us as like a domino in their chain of events. Being the right hand to Satan is a lot to take in, but it kind of made sense. And then it turns out Alicia was like the Horseman of War in disguise, and all of that was just complete bouffalant. And then after a battle with the Horseman, like the Horseman Death just shows up out of nowhere, deletes his siblings and says, "Problem solved. I'm gonna delete you too." And then Jericho just runs away before he had a chance to delete her, and at this point, I just stopped caring for this plot like at all. This was like the 4th plot twist that felt like nothing of value was gained or lost. Which stings, cause that storyline was actually pretty interesting. But now I don't care, and I'm glad I stopped caring, because from here is when things just stop mattering and things just start happening. First, we save a psychic egg from a prison, then we go to Mount Pyre to save the Telefang group, then we head to Fortree to meet the Spectrobes cast and fight a zombie Lugia and literal AI art. Then it's time to fight the final boss, who's another demon who's just fucking around, and we beat him and his legendaries, and he's like, "Nuh-uh," and we get sent to the evil fortress. But then the Dragon King saves us from the said fortress, and then we fight the Pokemon League, we see the credits for some reason, then we go into the sewers, and then our Taoist rival uses his powers to attack us, which is probably a good idea because he kind of sucked at battles with his weird deoxysperm thing. We fight a living mirror, we try to learn powers from him, but then we kill him for some reason. There's some transphobic comments about a Scottish crossdresser. I think we get a Paldea reference years before that's a thing. The champion has like an unbeatable circle with like Wonder Guard. I guess Burst just likes to be a prick to kids. There was an anime reference. I guess this is a Rhyhorn with no brim. Rock Lobster. No, I don't know your stupid 2000s internet references. Don't get me started on the fucking Afro Kung Fu assholes are the ultimate weapon against the demon lord, and references give you power. And then I just lost my dog. Yeah, my brother taught me how to chase the bed. Nothing fucking mattered anymore. Things just kept happening, and the more they did, the worse it all got. It's sludge. It became sludge in my mind. And what's worse was that was the point. I got to the stupid Avengers conference at like, and then I got to the stupid Avengers conference in the beginning of the final area, messed up on one of the many stupid mazes in this godforsaken game. Seriously, just Google it. Like, those poor bastards suffered for us not to. Don't let that go to waste. And then I just turned this shit off because I didn't care to finish this. So I just watched the last bit of the game on YouTube, and I'm so glad I did. It was fucking nonsense. And then it turned out that wasn't the ending. No, that wasn't the ending. This weird cutscene in Lily Cove was. which was something I stumbled into hours ago on accident, which is basically like this stupid little rant that relieved May and Brendan, you know, they were just like, they're dead, they're just fucking dead. And then the ROM hack creator comes in and basically tells us how cool he is and how awesome this whole thing is. Then he reveals the true backstory to our character, but only tells them and not us. They know their true backstory, but we're not allowed to. And when Jericho is ready to just end it all and ascend to heaven or whatever, I guess me, the player, forces her to stay so I can like complete the game. The thesis is apparently shit just happens. Which, yeah, I guess it does. I mean, alright, sure. Whatever, I guess. I don't care. Which sucks, cause I kind of did. The zombie apocalypse stuff was interesting. The idea where some kind of hell angel was like interesting. The murder mystery, the Telefang crossover, the fucking egg that talked to us like a little buddy was interesting. It was cool. The game even made like good use of the whole sequel idea, with areas like Dewford Cave now being forever changed due to the events of Kyogre and Groudon. I like parts of the story, but as a whole, it's nothing. Nothing of value happens, things just kept happening, and then an hour later, you're told all of that didn't matter or mean anything, and that in of itself could have been an interesting plot, but that's not what's here. All that's here is a bunch of fun ideas with poor to no execution. And sadly, the gameplay of Snakewood is worse. I mean, it's not even good enough to at least help me through all of this. A lot of the game is just these stupid fucking mazes that are so complicated for no good reason. And you just like have to like muscle through them or just give up and look it up on YouTube. Just do that. The battles are, you know, kind of cool in some areas. Again, I like the Telefang stuff, the zombie Pokemon, and I thought the Fakemon were actually pretty cool. Like this Diamond evolution for Steelix, you know, that's like one of my favorite guys. But then, like, some of these guys just really aren't anything other than just like a circle with eyes or a rock with a claw. I didn't hate them, I guess, but I look at the other Fakemon, and, you know, it just kind of feels like we could have had something a little bit more interesting here. There is an egg that becomes one of the many Johto legends or unknown, which I thought was pretty cool. And since this was in like 2010, we get some of the upcoming Generation 5 Pokemon added, with their like pre-English translated names included in like some of the older patches. The newer patches for Snakewood actually have this fixed. The ways that you like get them are kind of odd, but you can't actually catch most of the new Pokemon, which is so dumb to me. Like, why? Why? Zombies are the major thing in the game, but you can only legally catch 2 of them? Why isn't Bouffalant like an Evo to Cafbi? I mean, you make it like evolve into Miltank and Tauros. You might as well add Bouffalant in there as well to get like the Tyrogue angle, though you kind of already do have that with its new evolution Ramshaker. I kind of like Ramshaker. It's weird, but I like it. The actual trainers are like just all over the place in terms of difficulty and level scaling. At some point, all the normal trainers just start carrying multiple full restores and using really annoying strategies like Rest Wailord, which does nothing but waste time. And God bless, a lot of the gameplay is just wasted time. Why do I have to restart these mazes? Why do they have full restores? And why do I have to battle these Afroed freaks every 3 minutes? Why is King Mario even a thing? Wonder Guard. Ghost Dark type. Come on. The overworld is just so messed up too. There's a lot of one-way paths that are just like a major pain to loop your way back to, and you can't fly to a majority of the areas. So I guess, F you? There's points in some parts of the game where you have to catch certain Pokemon to open a certain puzzle, which I guess is kinda cool, but you need to at least give us a hint for something like that. I wouldn't think to do that cause like that's never been done before. Again, like, there's cool stuff here, you know, the idea of the zombie Pokemon, the items that have weird zombie names, the new moves are kind of cool, but it all just divulged into just sludge, man. Like, it's nothing. This entire game would have just been better if it had ended with the Horsemen. But in spite of all that, the game is still fairly popular. Why? Well, don't ask Cultery, because they do not understand the appeal of Snakewood at all. In their mind, it was just an exercise that they probably should have restarted work on instead of just pushing through with it, you know, I'm 13 in this all deep style. But apparently this whole thing just kind of started because they looked at Pokemon Quartz and thought, hey, I can do that. And you know what? They did. They released an entire complete ROM hack with new characters, new Pokemon, a new story, and it gave us a look at the world of Pokemon in a completely new way. It's respectable, truly. This project was long and hard, but they were able to release it. Should they not have? Maybe, but I think there is a reason Snakewood is still this huge thing in the fandom. Sure, it sucks, but it's fascinating. You won't find a game this weird and so odd. It's literally the room of Pokemon games, and people are obsessed with it, to the point where it's still getting fan remakes and ROM hacks is remixing it. Snakewood is truly something special. And Cultery didn't stop with this hack. They've actually made 2 others that, from what I've heard, are actually really good. Though Cultery themselves have admitted to not understanding the game Snakewood and the attention it has received, I think I do. If you download Snakewood from the original page on Pokecommunity, the game comes with mock interviews and things of that sort that go into more detail about the game's world, as well as be some more cringy 2000s humor. But that is a step beyond what most creators will do, and that tells me something important. That Cultery had passion for this project. Was it a stale, jumbled mess that's hard to bite into? Yes, exactly. Just exactly like those weird holiday fruitcake things your grandma always has. But just like those, they're made with love. And weird candy bits that I don't think exists outside of the cake. Well, seriously, what are these? Does anyone really know? Anywho, Cultery had passion when they made this game. And honestly, in a world full of corporate AI-generated bullshit that lacks any sort of true humanity, I find something like Snakewood pretty refreshing. And I think that is the direct appeal of these sorts of things. Sure, you know, it's not great, and it's even worse when any of these games are just awful to play through, but people still play through them, don't they? Sonic 06 still gets lots of love from its community. Hell, they're even remaking it right now, but they also endlessly shit on it. And I think that's cause you can feel the creator's intention inside of it, to the point where people will actively try to defend it. And you'll see a similar story to Snakewood, you know? And you got games like Metroid Other M, which was brutally hated by its community for good reason. But when I and others played through it not too long ago, I couldn't really bring myself to hate it. There's problems, absolutely, but there's something there, and that something is enough for people to get attached to. So bad it's good is a thing I believe because you can feel the passion inside of a mediocre work, and because of that you can find a way to enjoy it, even if it's just pointing and laughing at it. Is Snakewood one of those? Well, at least in some parts, you know, it feels exactly like a game an online 14-year-old would have made, and you know what? That's remarkable. Especially because they actually made it. Jesus Christ. Getting any sort of game out and released is a Herculean task, and that type of effort is remarkable. Some of the original comments on the Pokecommunity page are all going about, you know, how nice it is to see a game launch complete. Cultery is remarkable. Snakewood is, well, something special. You know, maybe just cheat in some rare candies or just watch a walkthrough for it. You know, stuff like this is a lot more enjoyable when you're not the one playing. But I am excited to see what comes out of the remixes and remakes for Snakewood. It truly is an interesting game. Hell, I even gave I gave Stingy and Snakewood a try, and though I like a lot of the experience, at the same time, it was made to be incredibly difficult, and this time it's like on purpose. Insanity was the original difficulty they had in mind, but they had to go a step down for their normal, and that was anything but. I got to the slack off spamming slowpoke before I just put the game down. The Whale Lords just were too traumatizing. Though I do appreciate the additions of new regional forms and more accessible zombie Pokemon, that was really cool. And if that sounds up your alley, then check her out. As for me, I'm just going to be watching all this stuff from afar. I might even come back if something really interests me enough. And let's be honest, it's Snakewood. Something crazy is just bound to happen. Alright, what's the team? Okay, so first up, we got Beyblade the Clay Doll. Our unusual starter Pokemon was an absolute ooh. Well, yes, I guess in that way as well. Either way though, this thing was amazing, and it was nice to bring in some more Hoenn love. Plus, I had to name it after the very top that Moses used to split the Red Sea. God, I wish that was the weirdest thing I said this video. Huh? The egg turned Entei was a trip and a half to use in battle. Water Spout and Eruption was fucking evil on a legendary dog, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Xander, this one goes out to you. Mr. Awesome was the name of the Lanoon that I used on my first playthrough of Pokemon Y, all those years ago. I've been trying to figure out like the best place to put him in this retrospective, and man, the game where he got an Evo had to be the best one. No, the other evolution. There we go, Rayquaza Lanoon. Not one of the better sprites in this hack, but my god, Dragon Normal with the legendary stats goes way too hard. Eat your heart out, Obstagoon, we got the true evolution right here. Though, maybe Spiral Goon would have been a better name since, you know, the whole direction thing this whole line's got going on. Ralph 3. Overkill. The name I got when I couldn't decide between Ralph, you know, to follow the whole Quillfish naming scheme we've been using, or Overkill, a reference to Overquill, and the fact that this is literally the strongest thing in the game. Why not both? Quillshark is a devastating Pokemon. Water Poison is an amazing typing, and people look down on it far too much. And Quillshark is here to change all of that, pretty much being a mainstay on any Snakewood team. God, this thing is just so strong. And also, we got Telson, who kind of exists. Not really a regional variant, more of a Quillfish with the same type, just gray and electric themed. I love the Quillfish love, man, but this one kind of needed a little work. Worm, is it Worm or is it Worm? Worm, whatever. Worm the Diamond Dicks. Shit, that's an awful name. Worm the Diamond Dicks. The enemy exclusive mods be damned. Nothing was gonna stop me from having the new Evo to like my third favorite Pokemon. And yep, with that Steel Dragon typing, I mean, of course this thing had to be a boss mon. It's utterly broken otherwise. This is Mega Steelix we should have gotten. Except in terms of design, but honestly, it's still really cool. Sparkly Pony is a name that's much better in context, but context be damned, this is a Snakewood video. Zipstrika is a great mon, and I already used a Generation 5 mon in the other Hoenn video, so I might as well do it here as well since those mons will sadly not feature as much as they really should in this series. But c'est la vie, Sparkly more than pulled their weight, love that Taser Zebra. Overall, my team from Snakewood was just broken, mostly because of my liberal use of rare candies near the end of the game, you know, to just get it all over with, but hey, that's just how it goes. I'm not putting Snakewood on the tier list, you know, that's just, no. You know what, actually, there. It's in a league of its own, where it probably should stay, as the most experimental game that reminds us why execution is the most important part. Yeesh. Though, now I really want more zombie Pokemon experiences. It really is a fun idea. War and Geese aren't getting spots though, they're hardly rivals, or villains, or even characters to be honest. But fine, screw it. Put all the Afro assholes in their own tier. I hate them to death and back. But I guess they need some more attention in this video, those damn Mirror B ripoffs. Actually, speaking of that, that's actually where we're going to be heading next time in our Pokemon Regional Retrospective. The Ouray region, home to Coliseum and XD, Gale of Darkness. Now, just please move out of the entrance way so I can leave before those guys remember that they need to battle me every time we... Oh, no, shit. Oh, god damn you, Pavlov! Yeah, that's basically just the writing of Snakewood in a nutshell. Hell, this entire video is just the writing of Snakewood in a nutshell. And if you didn't find any of this entertaining, you're not going to find Snakewood entertaining. I'm so sorry.